Hello, everybody, back again, and we are talking about another end game or late middle game position, if you want to call it that. Um, it's a little series that I'm doing. Someone had requested about doing, um, you know, uh, positions, doing some lessons on converting, winning positions. Now, these aren't always necessarily going to be winning positions, but hopefully these positions are practical enough where they teach you how to think in chess. Um, like that's basically, I guess, what I'm trying to do is just get your mind on the right track on how you should be um, thinking when approaching positions. And that's why I try to avoid the hype of like openings and stuff like that. Because what happens is you get to these type of positions, and it could come from any opening, and then you need to know what to do. You need to know about weak squares. You need to know about what pieces to keep, what pieces to trade off, pawn structure, weak squares, um, king placement, all of that type of stuff. Your king and pawn endgames need to be on point. Rook and pawn endgames, those things are more important. But anyway, consider this position right here is black's move. Um, and like I always say, you can pause the video and set up this board. Set up this on your this position on your chessboard and analyze the position yourself. Exercise your own mind, and then come back and check out what actually happened during the game. This game is from the Chess Olympiad in Dubrovnik, 1950. Round three. The player with the white pieces is a player, I believe, from Greece named Fotis Mastichiadis, and with the black pieces was international master at the time from Germany, Lothar Schmid, who eventually became a grandmaster in I think in 1959, and then he became known as an international arbiter. Matter of fact, he was the arbiter at the Fischer-Spassky match, and I think one of the things he's known for too is his. I think he has the largest collection of chess books. I mean, he has like, because I think he was like pretty wealthy, like he had a big inheritance, and you could Google him or something like that. But he basically, I mean, he has like the original manuscripts, from like Damiano, not like just a copy or something. He has like the original, text and things like that, or had them. He passed away in 2013. Um, but in this position, let's get into the analysis now. I hope you had set it up on your board and analyzed it. Um, this position right here, um, let's look at it. We can see here that the material is not even here, as black has one more pawn than white does. That's the first thing. So we see on the king side there's a 3-2 pawn majority, right? And so that's good for black. The second thing is space. We see that black has a bit more space on the king side, and that bodes well for black also. Also, we see his rook beautifully placed on the open file, the e file, and another thing I'd like to point out is black also possesses the two bishops. So all of these things are in black's favor. Um, Another thing I like to point out is the position of the kings. Um, the black king and the white king are both on the second rank, but black's king is placed in a better position. The reason why is because he actually has access to the queen side. For example, if we can make an imaginary king walk, right, this king can go unhindered because of the weakness in white's queen side pawns, and this gives black the nod as far as king position. Notice how on the other side, white can't go here in the e file. The rook, bishop, and pawn is blocking that. Bishop is blocking access over here. So although both kings are on the second ranks respectively, the white king is severely inhibited. The best white piece here is probably the bishop on d3, and then right behind that maybe the knight. Um, so and his rook is pretty hobbled back there on c1. All right, so based on all of those factors, I would say that black should be trying to definitely play for more and possibly a win here. I don't want to be too presumptuous, but um, if I was black, I would be playing for a win here. All right, so those are like the positional features. But of course, tactics is king here. And tactics is king in chess. You always want to look at tactics first. And this is one of the reasons why I picked out this position, because I know you're in like endgame mode and you probably don't see like a real obvious tactic on the board. Remember, I said it's black to move. And when we do our tactical analysis, let's look at the situation. The thing that should stand out immediately is you have this dark square bishop here. You have the king and rook lined up. Okay, so immediately winning, right? Forget about all the hocus pocus. Immediately winning is just simply bishop takes g4, removing the defender of the e3 square. Now if f takes g4, bishop e3, and we can end the video right now and go home. Right, the game will be over. But Schmid actually missed that. Now, was it a time related thing? I really don't know, but he missed that, that simple tactic right there. So although you're in these middle game slash end game position, don't think that tactics aren't available. Always look at for tactics first, right? Ways you could just can annihilate the opponent first. Schmid played the move h3 also is possible with the same idea. G takes h3 and then bishop g4. Okay. King d6 was played, which we could call that a blunder, but nevertheless I named all those static advantages that white holds. I mean that black has, so this move isn't damaging the black, even though it's a weak move. Now, rook e1 is played. Again, now it's a similar type position, so white avoids that threat. Maybe white saw it, but then black didn't see it. But here's another interesting feature in the position. So now he's offering the trade of rooks, which is also advantageous to black because once the rook's off the board, right, say rook takes e1, then black just has simple access again to the queen side like I mentioned before. However, white knows that he's probably busted in a bad position and he can be angling hoping to get some type of opposite bishops ending, right, with the white bishop and dark bishop. Unfortunately for him, black has the pair of bishops and you can always avoid that situation. Now here Schmid simply played rook takes e1, again missing the same tactic on the other side. Now instead of bishop takes g4, right, which wouldn't really amount to much because the rook is no longer c1, just simply bishop c3 this time. So he missed a chance to skewer the rook 2 times, right? Because if king takes, it just rook takes, and if he goes back, of course, just simply rook takes again. So those are 2 chances right in a row, back to back, to win the rook. So again, keep your eyes open. So now, since he missed those opportunities to win right away, that's why we are still discussing this endgame. So now king takes e1, And although the exchange has taken place, Black's advantage is just solid as ever. Again, the main thing here is the access of the Black King to the Queen side. Now notice when I first showed you um, the position in the beginning of the video, the two kings were on the second ranks respectively. Now whose king has improved? The Black King. Now the Black King is on the his third rank, while the White King is on his first rank. Okay, and again, it's easy for the Black King just to walk to the Queen side and start attacking these pawns. Okay, King C5, real obvious move. King D2, King B4. Notice the pressure put on the pawn. This causes the white pieces to become passive. Either the king has to guard here, or the bishop. Somebody has to become passive, and that's what you want. King C2, and now bishop E6. Again, Black has to be careful not to play a move, say, so hastily like bishop takes G4 and try to make everything too simple, because again, you would have this opposite colored bishop ending, and those can be tricky even when you're up in material. So he played bishop E6, and the idea behind bishop E6 is to work out a situation where he can push, that's Black, where he can push B5 successfully. And then upon, when this pawn captures, then the E6 bishop can take on B3 with check. So those are the tactics involved with that, right? Putting pressure on a weak pawn structure. And why do I say White's pawn structure is weak? Because the pawns are fixed. They cannot move. And when something cannot move, it becomes a target. So bishop E4. And notice the difference in the Black pawn structure. Black's pawns can move, right? These pawns are flexible, and therefore, after bishop bishop E4, simply B4. He just ignores this right here. And the idea here is after bishop takes C6, then simply B takes C4. B takes C4. B takes C4. And now there's no way to protect this guy right here. Soon, this move will come right here, check. Or if he, would do that, then you could trade, trade the bishops off. But this pawn is going to fall as a result. So after B5, play with the white pieces, attack the bishop on D4. Okay. Schmid went to King C5. This is also possible. Idea here is just King D4, A3, Bishop B1. Now you get rid of this guy, and let's say after F takes G4, King takes B3, and there's no stopping this right here. So, for example, King C5, and now here's another lesson, and this is the only reason why I'm showing you this variation, because I wanted to show you this breakthrough right here. Notice again the weak pawns. This pawn is weak right here because it cannot move. When it's weak, it becomes a target. So you can play this move A2, and let's say, for instance, after bishop takes A2 check, he sacrifices king takes A2, right? And let's say king takes C6. You might be saying, wait a minute, this pawn is going to race up the board, right? But no, because this pawn is weak. You have this pawn and this pawn, you can execute a breakthrough sacrifice. So you play F3. If G takes F3, then H3. Right? Can't stop it. No matter what. If you go that way, you got the same the same thing. G takes So remember little ideas like that. But instead of doing all of that, Schmid just simply, King D3, simply just protected the bishop with King C5. And now the play with Mastichiadis played bishop takes C6. And of course the idea is to draw the king away, right? And this would be a blunder if, king takes C6, because not king takes D4 right away, but you have this check right here, which is possible. But actually scratch that, because yeah, now I'm looking at it. I didn't see it right away. Yeah, if he checks, for instance, like that, I thought he had an in-between check. If he checks, then the king just comes back to C5. So that's dubious. So scratch that. So the idea here is after king C5, bishop takes C6. And if he does king takes C6, excuse me, then king takes D4. Okay, and now he's kind of banking on that and hoping to be able to draw in this position. All right. Because here, black should be okay here also. Just winning. That's if he takes with F takes G4. Right? Automatic capture. That's another lesson. Don't automatically recapture. But, so instead of capturing that right away, you grab a pawn here. You play A takes B5 check. And now after, say, king B7, F takes G4 here. And now the king is close enough to get back over. So for example, F3. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what do you play here? Do you play on F3? Do you capture? Of course not, because if you play G takes, then you can't get to this point in time. Oh, you let it, sleeping dogs lie. You go king to E3. Then of course he takes. Then you're in time to stop everything. And then you got H3, and then he plays C5. And it's a draw here because black can't like penetrate and make any progress, and then white can't do anything either. Now that's good for white to end the game like that because he was losing. But you would be mad if you were black and gave up, a draw like that. So that was the idea behind this move, bishop takes C6. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you got to be very careful in these endings, because you might be winning, but then somebody hits you with a tactic like that, and your instinct is to just recapture, make an automatic recapture. Okay, you have to discipline yourself against that. So after bishop takes C6, Schmid, who had overlooked 2 wins earlier with the skewering the rook, he finds the correct move here. He throws this in between check and bishop takes C4 check. Right, and now that line that I showed you before is no longer possible because black has taken another pawn off the board. So after bishop takes B takes C4 check, B takes C4, now he takes king takes C6. You see the difference? King takes D4, and now bishop takes G4, and now it's a different, now it's a different ball game here. Let me just say that. Now it's a different ball game after bishop takes G4. Now let's look at the ending. So after F takes G4, F3, and now let's say if he just tries to, the same thing, just for clarity's sake. Now there's no hope for white here because the pawns are just separated. So while white is stuck over here, the king would just march up and eat these guys up. Okay, So that's the difference. That's the difference between playing and I'll leave it here because this is the critical position. That's the difference between winning and drawing the game, is making an automatic recapture and taking the second and really understanding what's going on and winning the position. So that little ending, it was rich, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next video.